The name Jeffrey Epstein is infamous worldwide, not for philanthropy, but for one of the most disturbing and far-reaching criminal cases of our time. His story is a chilling reminder of how power, privilege, and secrecy can intertwine to devastating effect. Epstein, a wealthy financier, mingled with presidents, princes, and business leaders, projecting an image of power and luxury, while hiding a predatory secret. He was a fixture in elite circles, his presence welcomed at exclusive gatherings, his connections spanning continents and industries. For years he operated with impunity, shielded by money, legal power, and influential friends. Behind closed doors, his wealth bought silence and protection, allowing him to evade scrutiny and accountability. The origins of his fortune remain shrouded in mystery, fueling speculation and suspicion. His lavish lifestyle, private jets, sprawling mansions, and a private island, was a carefully crafted performance designed to dazzle, distract, and ultimately protect himself from exposure. The story of Epstein is not just about one man's crimes, but about how systems of power can protect the guilty and silence the innocent. It's a story that reveals the cracks in our institutions and the ways in which justice can be manipulated by those with means. The truth only began to emerge thanks to relentless journalists and the extraordinary bravery of survivors who spoke out despite threats and years of rumors and buried allegations. Their courage forced the world to pay attention. Investigative reporting, notably by the Miami Herald, played a pivotal role in exposing the depth of Epstein's abuse. Their work forced law enforcement and the public to confront the reality of his crimes, and the powerful people who enabled him. His case exposed how wealth and influence can corrupt justice, and why the public remains both fascinated and outraged by the scale of his crimes and the powerful people connected to him. The revelations sent shockwaves through the highest levels of society. Epstein's legacy is a cautionary tale about unchecked privilege, systemic failure, and the ongoing fight for justice. A story that continues to unfold, challenging us to demand accountability and protect the vulnerable. Epstein's crimes were systematic, calculated, and spanned decades, targeting vulnerable young women and underage girls through a sophisticated and well-organized sex trafficking operation. He built a network that reached across state lines and even international borders, using his wealth and influence to shield his activities from scrutiny. He lured victims with promises of money, opportunity, or escape from hardship, often under the guise of legitimate massage appointments. Many girls were approached by recruiters, sometimes even other victims, who convinced them that Epstein could change their lives for the better. These encounters quickly turned abusive, trapping victims in cycles of fear, manipulation, and secrecy. Epstein and his associates used threats, emotional coercion, and even blackmail to ensure silence and compliance, making escape feel impossible for many. The world first learned of these acts in 2005 when a Palm Beach parent reported her 14-year-old stepdaughter's abuse to local authorities. This brave act set off a chain reaction that would eventually expose the scale of Epstein's crimes. Police uncovered dozens of victims, but Epstein's powerful legal team fought back fiercely, intimidating witnesses, discrediting accusers, and using every legal maneuver to complicate the path to justice. Despite overwhelming evidence, a controversial 2008 non-prosecution agreement let Epstein plead to lesser charges, serve just 13 months in jail, and granted immunity to his co-conspirators. The deal was struck in secret, without informing most of the victims. This sweetheart deal buried the story for years, leaving victims betrayed, justice denied, and the public largely unaware of the true extent of Epstein's crimes. In 2019, after renewed investigative journalism and mounting public pressure, federal prosecutors in New York charged Epstein with sex trafficking of minors, reigniting public outrage and bringing long overdue attention to the case. His arrest marked a turning point, with new indictments detailing crimes in both New York and Florida, and putting immense pressure on the justice system to finally hold him accountable. The world was finally watching as Epstein's secrets were exposed on a global stage, and the demand for justice grew louder than ever before. At the heart of the Epstein saga are the women and girls whose lives he shattered. Many came from disadvantaged backgrounds, making them easy targets for Epstein's calculated promises. Survivors like Virginia Giuffre and Sarah Ransom bravely shared their stories, revealing a pattern of exploitation and psychological trauma. For years, victims were silenced by fear, non-disclosure agreements, and the overwhelming power of Epstein's network. When they spoke out, they often faced skepticism and victim blaming, compounding their trauma. The 2008 plea deal was a deep betrayal, signaling that their suffering mattered less than Epstein's comfort. Their courage transformed the narrative, forcing the world to confront the reality of criminal predation and empowering other survivors to come forward. Their stories are a testament to resilience and the relentless pursuit of truth. Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's longtime companion, was central to his crimes. As a British socialite, she used her status to recruit and groom victims, making Epstein's operation seem safe and legitimate. Survivors testified that Maxwell befriended them, gained their trust, and sometimes participated in the abuse. She managed Epstein's households and enforced the rules of his predatory system. After Epstein's 2019 arrest, Maxwell went into hiding but was captured and convicted in 2021 for sex trafficking of a minor. Her conviction was a landmark, proving that even powerful accomplices can be held accountable. Maxwell's downfall affirmed survivors' accounts and showed that justice can reach beyond the primary perpetrator. Epstein's victims faced a long, uphill battle for justice, often blocked by powerful interests and legal loopholes. The 2008 non-prosecution agreement was a major setback, shielding Epstein and his associates from federal charges. After Epstein's 2019 death, a compensation program paid over $125 million to more than 135 women, offering some acknowledgement of their suffering. Many survivors also filed civil lawsuits against Epstein's estate and the institutions that enabled his crimes. Major banks like JP Chase and Deutsche Bank settled for hundreds of millions, admitting their role in facilitating Epstein's activities. These victories set legal precedents, holding corporations accountable for enabling human trafficking. The survivors' relentless pursuit of justice has reshaped corporate responsibility and exposed the broader network behind Epstein's abuse. Epstein surrounded himself with powerful figures from politics, royalty, business, and science, using these connections as both shield and lure. His infamous Black Book and flight logs included names like Prince Andrew, who settled a lawsuit with Virginia Giuffre after public scandal. Associates like Jean-Luc Brunel and Les Wexner were also implicated. Brunel died in jail, and Wexner distanced himself after years of close ties. The release of court documents in 2024 named over 150 people connected to Epstein, reigniting scrutiny of the global elite. These connections highlight a culture of impunity where wealth and status can protect against accountability. The ongoing investigation into Epstein's network is crucial for understanding how he operated for so long. The scandal remains a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked power. The legal saga of Jeffrey Epstein is a story of systemic failure, privilege, and the troubling intersection of wealth and justice. His case exposed deep flaws in the legal system, raising questions about accountability for the powerful. Despite overwhelming evidence of widespread abuse and numerous victims, a secret 2008 plea deal allowed Epstein to avoid serious federal charges. This controversial agreement not only let him serve minimal jail time, but also protected his co-conspirators from prosecution, sparking outrage and disbelief. The deal, made without the knowledge or input of Epstein's victims, stood for over a decade as a glaring symbol of a two-tiered justice system, one for the rich and influential, and another for everyone else. Only after years of relentless investigative journalism and public pressure did a federal judge rule the plea deal illegal, paving the way for Epstein's 2019 arrest on new federal charges related to sex trafficking. Epstein's sudden death in jail, officially ruled a suicide, fueled a storm of conspiracy theories and denied his victims the chance to see him face justice in a public trial. Legal action continued in the aftermath, including the unsealing of court documents that named over 150 associates and the high-profile conviction of Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's longtime confidant and accomplice. Civil lawsuits against major banks and powerful institutions have further exposed the vast network that enabled Epstein's crimes, revealing how financial and social systems can be manipulated to protect abusers. The fight to unravel Epstein's web of influence and expose the full truth continues, driven by survivors, journalists, and advocates determined to ensure justice is finally served. The Epstein scandal ignited global outrage and relentless media scrutiny. Journalists, especially at the Miami Herald, refused to let the story die, uncovering the failures of the justice system and amplifying survivors' voices. The case became a fixture in news cycles, documentaries, and podcasts, symbolizing the corrupting influence of wealth and power. Public fascination with Epstein's connections fueled demands for transparency and accountability. The scandal forced institutions and public figures to answer difficult questions about their ties to Epstein. Media attention empowered survivors and made it impossible for authorities to ignore the case. The global reckoning sparked by this scandal is a testament to the power of a free press and public demand for justice. The Epstein case has left a lasting mark, with its full impact still unfolding. For survivors, true justice means reforming the systems that failed them and holding all enablers accountable. The scandal led to stronger laws, greater awareness of sex trafficking, and new precedents for corporate responsibility. Lawsuits against major banks forced institutions to be more vigilant against human trafficking. The case is a cautionary tale about unchecked power and the need for ongoing scrutiny of the elite. Its legacy depends on continued support for victims, relentless investigation, and a commitment to equal justice. The story is far from over. The pursuit of a just resolution remains a critical challenge for society,